Everybody, so here we are. It's now Sunday at about 2:45 UTC, near enough to it, and we've gone full circle. I'm assuming this is working. Jane's going to check it on Facebook and YouTube, see if we've got audio and camera and so on. We've just spent the last couple of hours going full circle. We had been trying a new system previously, and we sort of giving up on that, and we're back to what we call a Be Live system. And this is the first time we've actually used it since May of last year, I think. Oh, no, the last time we used it was the end of the Ocean Globe race. So there will be a bit of a catch up. And we've been trying to adjust systems to make it a bit more higher resolution and quality. So bear with us if things don't go right. I'm just looking at Jane to see if we've got it on Facebook. Yep, we got it on Facebook. And then she'll check it on YouTube as well to see what's going on. First thing I'd just like to say is I did a tutorial on how to use the tracker in the actual 580 websites. Now, in fact, I should have got this out. Where's my phone? Hang on a sec. I'll just get my phone. We're still in Lanzarote, actually, at the moment. And I'll just show you. Oh, hang on. We've just got an update from Jasmine. Oh, this is live. I'll just have a quick read. Oh, no, it's not. Thank you. It's just a personal thank you from a man. Anyway, I'll get rid of that. And what I want to just show you is there's two trackers that you can follow. One is on the Yellow Brick app on your mobile, and that's extremely popular. I'll just go back here, get out of there. Okay, I don't know whether you can see that. This little one here on the side, other side, this one right there. That's the Yellow Brick app, so or YB Races app. When you press that, you start to come towards your YB Races, okay? And you say, do you want to leave this race, yes or no? Oh, well, actually, I'm already on it. But anyway, this is important to realize. When you're using the tracker on the Yellow Brick mobile app, you're only going to get a few of the features. What I'm going to show you now is the tracker from the website, which gives you everything, right? So because usually when I do this, people say, oh, I'm on the tracker and I can't get all this stuff. You're going to get a lot more now, because if you get on a PC, you can play with all the features. I'm not going to give you another tutorial. There is already one on the YouTube channel, so have a look at that. And I recommend it, once a week. If you get onto the main tracker, you can have a lot of fun. It'll tell you all sorts of things. It was a great start yesterday, very confusing at the beginning with lack of wind and so on, and people hitting the rounding mark, and some getting a little bit too far away from the start line at the beginning when there was a nice breeze. When the boats came out, there was a good breeze, and of course took off, and then it dropped. So Jasmine and Kerry got stuck in a hole. They were so late getting around, and poor Jasmine she was even worse position than Kerry, but finally got around, and they're all underway, and they've been having an amazing ride. So I'm going to show you now some of the issues that created the decisions that each of the entrants have made to decide which way they go either side of the island, and also the looking forward on the weather to explain a very unique situation, because there's quite a special opportunity for these guys and girls to actually perform very well on their total time going across. You probably saw that Dan had a problem with his spinnaker, with one of his asymmetrics. There's a written report on the bottom of this on Facebook. He'll tell you all about it, but got into a bit of strife, but recovered okay. And apart from that, everything seems to be going extremely well. So let's just go straight over to the tracker, and I'll remember to press the right buttons when I find my cursor. Here we go. So first of all, I've got to hit this one, and there's windy. We don't want that one. I'll bring it back. Okay, I'm going to go straight over here and get onto the tracker now. Okay, you've got the tracker. Now I've got to go over to the tracker, which is here. Now, if all goes well, Jane will tell me that we're looking at the same thing on Facebook. We should be looking at the tracker. Jane, have you got that?
Now it's still just showing windy for now, because it's slower. Now it's changing screen now.
Screen now.
Yeah, I'm showing the tracker.
Yep. Okay, so we're on the tracker. Fantastic. All right. And when I find my cursor, you should be able to see my cursor here. So here's Lanzarote up the top. Those that haven't seen it before, this graphic looks like rain coming down the screen is actually the wind direction, and it also gives you a definition of strength. So briefly, this greeny color, it's probably 15 to 20 knots, maybe gusting 25. All right, so they've got a breeze from the northeast. North is at the top of the screen, of course, and northeast breeze, very nice one. And so the big topic of discussion was where would the boats go once they left Lanzarote. I just want to put the snail trails on here. You can see here there's Lanzarote, 3 of the boats, Popeye and BB and John, okay, took off to the eastern side. A bunch of others went down the middle here between the 2 islands, and then Little Wren, Little Bow, and Origami took off pretty heavily to the west. And it's caused because if I pull this right back, the forecast, if I now look at the track going across, you can see the route there, this red track. This is generally where I reckon that the guys are going to sail. And their destination is right over to the opposite side here into Antigua. Okay, they've got to go right across the other side of the Pacific, 3,000 miles. And what you're seeing on this weather is actually for the 13th of January. It's the day before now. This is the weather for now. And you'll see that trade winds will usually follow them all the way across. And the key is to not go too high, which can lead into not much wind, or too low, which is again not much wind, and stay in a band of trade winds coming across. And the traditional route for that is that boats would usually leave the Canaries and head straight down here to the jeepers. I nearly said the Azores. It's Cape Verdes. So this is the Cape Verdes. They'd come down to south, get into the trade winds, turn right, and head across to the Caribbean. But the forecast going forward for the next 10 days and more, I'll show you in a minute, is suggesting that instead of being a no wind zone and having to go south or make their way south really well and then turn right and go across, you may well be able to cut this corner. Imagine sailing like that all the way across. You save a huge amount of distance, 3 or 4 days or more, could even be 5 days, having to come down and then sail back across. And I'll just advance the weather here. So this is moving forward. If I hit that there and just start pulling this across, that's the 12th, the 13th. And you can see clearly here, you've still got trade winds, right? So that's only the next few days. Keep going. Gets a bit light, but up the top, they're still sailing with that. The 14th, it's still a bit light, right? So they're sailing in this breeze. And now it's starting to fill in. You'll see the breeze pick up, but there's still a good trade wind belt there. This hole is getting smaller where that's open. There's no wind. And as we progress down, so that's the 14th. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Sorry. Boom, boom, boom. There's 14th, 15th. Imagine the boats up the top there sailing down. 16th, they've still got trade winds, and it's getting thicker. So this is now 6 days ahead. You see, it's just trades everywhere. This is fantastic. Keep going all the way across. The 18th, the trades are still holding. The 18th, all the way through, and it's getting stronger. Okay, this is a week away. So by next Saturday, imagine you sailing along here somewhere. If this forecast is correct, you've still got fantastic easterly winds pushing you along because of this North Atlantic. Well, this is actually the Azores high coming around here. It's just building and stationary. Fantastic trade winds all the way through, and that's in a week's time. So if we keep pushing this along, I'll just push it up so you can see the trade winds are just still sitting there. Okay, now this is now the 19th, so that's 8 days' time. By then they're going to be down here still, so they're still missing the Azores high. They're underneath it. The trades are quite high. All of this area's got breeze. Okay, keep pushing it. There's the 20th, and by the 20th, that's 10 days away. Now the distance, just to give you another perspective, if I'm using the ruler now. Okay, that's 1,000 miles. Okay, and this is 10 days later. They're easily going to be doing 100 to 120 mile day in those weather that I just showed you. So that gives you, 10 days. They're going to be 1,200 miles ahead. So they're going to be probably down here somewhere. They've still got plenty of breeze, and they've completely cut the corner. Does that make sense? So this is a distance of near enough to 1,200 miles on a run line from Lanzarote. So we get rid of the distance marker, we come back to the weather, hit that again, and that's on the 20th. Oh, that's 9 days. So it's still very relevant. I'll just push it through a little bit here, and you can see the trades have still sat there all the way, and now it's even getting stronger, right? So they're going to get some big winds. In fact, this only goes 11 days ahead on windy, on the main windy map. I'll come to it at the end of this briefing and just show you how perfect this is for sailing to the Caribbean, and no need to go down to the Cape Verdes. So I'll come back to today's real-time weather. Boom, just slide that across. So we're back to today's weather. I'll pick this up, bring the boys and girls, I keep saying guys for the fleet, but start building that up so you get a better indication of what's going on here. It's catching up. All right, you should be able to see that reasonably well. So that's why you're seeing Little Rand, Little Bow, and Origami heading out, because they're basically sailing a run line direct to Antigua. Okay, that's why they've considered that course. The guys that went through the middle here, I'm not sure why they went that way, because the two things normally happen. This is today's weather. First of all, if you've got very strong trade winds, when it comes through here, you get what's called a squeeze effect. It's like a funnel effect. So when the wind's coming down, it'll actually get compressed and create squalls and sort of wind strengths in small areas that are much greater than what you would normally expect if you're in clear ocean. Okay, I can't go backwards on the weather, but I would have decided if I was going down, I would have been on this team going down the east coast, because you had an easterly wind here. Started off up here, it swung to the northeast. No, it was easterly, and then it was going to swing back to the northeast and carry on. But you had clear air, so there would have been less potential for squalls and so on. And also you'd get down into the wind zone down here quicker, because there were some soft spots forecast here. And that's what's happening right now, based on this weather, and it's even clearer to see this on the main windy website. So if we extend this on, it starts to fill in, but there was always the risk that these guys might slow down in the light stuff in between the squalls, and the guys who took to the east would actually be, in quite a favourable position. And I think that's brought out by the fact that if you look at Jacob's performance in the qualifier, he was way down the back somewhere. Okay, he's obviously had some fantastic training from a young lady in Lanzarote, but he's right up there. He's lying abreast with the potential leads on this pack and sailing really well. So it was very mixed bag decisions. I don't think anyone's made a bad decision or a wrong decision, but going to the east was good, and I reckon it might have been a bit more stable. Going to the middle zone has turned out to be okay as well, but it's always an interesting choice. So the performance of the boat, Popeye, down the back here, doing 4 knots in the last 4 hours, and doing 4 knots in the last 4 hours. He made 63 miles, because this is 2 hours under the actual 24-hour rating. So he's done, so all of these distances I'm going to give you is in the last 22 hours. So he's made 63 miles in the last 22 hours. BB, Jacob, has made 91 miles in the last 22 hours. Not too bad. John has done 86 miles. It's not too bad either as well. We come across to number 2, Jasmine, after that horrific start, being caught in the hole. We felt so sorry for her. In fact, I've got to explain that. If you watch the live, you'll see we came back to her and we were going to follow her around the buoy, but she was in a very tough situation. She'd had a bit of a rap with her asymmetric and the furling, and things were going wrong. And there's nothing worse to have someone sitting there forecasting it live while you're trying to sort out challenges and problems. So we decided we would give it a big miss and leave her alone, and particularly just took off. We didn't want to be giving her any more pressure, and that's the only reason we left that. And very shortly after we left, probably about another 10 minutes or so, she did get around and took off, looking like a champion. So she's hanging in there, and she's sort of caught up with bits and pieces. Been doing 3.5 knots, 87 miles in the last 22 hours. Biggest monkey, been zipping along, doing 4 knots in the last 4 hours, 95 nautical miles. And Immortal Game, the other Dan, the Holiday Man, 3.8 knots, not going so fast. And that's purely because they're now hitting some soft spots here, for sure. Dan's faster than that. And this is daytime. Same with Peter Punt, 4.1 knots. There's just not enough breeze there. They've fallen into these soft spots, which happens in this zone, which is another reason I would have gone down to the east. Argo, 4.4, but Argo's looking pretty good at the moment. In terms of closest boat to Antigua, Argo is first place, okay, in line on this. You can see that in the box. If you look at these information boxes, you'll see at the top, you've got the boat speed, 4.4 knots. Next to that, you've got the course that they're sailing, the average course over the last 4 hours, the name of the skippers. Then you've got the time of the position. So position at 12th of January, 2025, 1200 UTC. And then you've got your latitude and longitude. That's real-time live at the time of the ping. Distance to the finish has only got 2,642 nautical miles to go. And normally it's longer than that. We always say 3,000 miles, and that's because you've got to go a long way south. You go a long way south, and then you turn right at the Cape Verdes and then head across to Antigua. Of course, you might not have to do that now. So if they really do cut the corner, then it's going to be a bit shorter, and that's where the days decrease. So first edition of the race, it was about 26 days and a few hours. The next edition of the race, that was in 2023, they were taking about 35 days or something. It was much longer because they had a big hole in the middle. And then this edition, I'm starting to think that if the forecast is correct and they get those trade winds for the next, looks like they're going to continue with a degree of certainty for the next 12, 13 days, it will lay the foundation to create a passage time of as short as probably 22 days, which would be pretty crazy. And I don't know whether we'll be there when they get there, but that's another problem. Anyway, and then so their distance to the finish here at the moment for Argo is 2,642 nautical miles, and there's a problem there. Okay, because he hasn't done, Argo is showing a distance in the last 24 hours of 284 nautical miles, which I've just noticed. Now, this brings up another point about the tracker. It's not foolproof. We absolutely love the yellow brick tracker. It's using Windy as the background weather system, and there's lots of other features, and we can give very good interpretation when we do an update. So we love the YB3 trackers on the boat. We love the website, the web system format they present the tracker on. It's really cool. And guess what? We pay very little money for it. It's bordering on being free. If we wanted to produce our own custom tracking software here, it's well over €100,000. And of course, we don't have the ability to do that. You'll see that on the Vendée Globe, on the Ocean Race, all those sorts of Grand Prix, big money events. They won't use a standard Windy map. They'll get one made specially for them. But the trade-off for that is that occasionally we get glitches, okay? And we have a 24-hour hotline number for Yellow Brick. They give us fantastic service. It is an incredible safety aid. We, if someone's in difficulties and we need to, provide assistance with rescue coordination centres and so on, the tracking device and the website actually becomes a crucial tool, and they work with us in all those situations. So, but as I say, Argo did not do, here he is again, did not do 284 nautical miles in the last 24 hours. That's what we call a systems glitch. Hopefully it'll be discovered by the software system itself, and next position report, it'll probably be back to showing the correct figure. So don't get on the blower and send us messages and say, hey, look, there's something wrong there. The managers themselves are actually looking after the regularity of the position reports. They'll be watching 24 hours a day sort of thing. And if they see a problem, they contact us and say, hey, Don, there's a glitch there. Can you try and sort it out? It's been like that for the last 8 hours. But generally, it's pretty good. Okay, Little Bo had the drama with the spinnaker. And in fact, let's blow it up and see if it was 4 hourly. No, he would have got away with that. We won't see it on the tracker. Sometimes you can see a strange track. I'm blowing this right up to see if that. No, we can't see it. So anyway, Little B, I should say, Little B, 4.2 knots in the last 4 hours. And yeah, he hasn't traveled a long distance in the last 24 hours. It's showing 51 miles, so it cost him a bit losing that spinnaker. He got it back on board undamaged, but had some fun. You'll see there 12 o'clock UTC position, the Latin long, 2,875 miles to the finish, and he's 10th in line on us. Little Ren going like crazy, 4.9 knots, not bad. He was neck and neck with Origami, but as soon as the sun comes up, I said to Jane this morning, because we had an early start taking Ada back to the airport, but they were side by side, and I said, wait until the sun comes up. And bingo, as soon as the sun's up, Kerry is in the zone, and he'd be hand steering and going for it, and that looks like exactly what's happened. Kerry is now doing 5.5 knots. I think you'll see some more of the same there. But there's another glitch straight away. Anyone see the glitch? Ooh, jeepers. It's showing distance in the last 24 hours as 39 nautical miles. That's not correct. Now, there might be a couple of other things that are causing that as well, although, no, it's actually a glitch. But this other red line that we're seeing on the chart here, this one here is an estimated rum line, like an average course, okay? And if a boat is sailing alongside it, that's where the distance measuring comes from, okay, to show what they've done in the last 24 hours. It's not an addition of their distance over the ground each 4-hour ping and then add it up. It has some reference to the actual red course here. And you'll see here, these guys are sailing down the course. So even though they're beside it, their distances will be pretty correct. These guys, if you triangulate the distance from across here, they're running away from the course. And that's why it's showing so little distance. In other words, if I took a position from, say, here to there, measured that, and laid it down the track, you'll see they've done much more than the distance showing. They've done much more than 39 nautical miles. It's just a factor of this imaginary course that it's measuring alongside to get to Antigua. And I'll show you another interesting point on that, how the Great Circle route works. I'm shrinking this down so we can see the entire course. Okay. We're at the equator, so it might not show up very well. But if I put a distance measurer here, oh yeah, you can see it. So there we go at Lanzarote. Here we go at Antigua, right? And you'll see it's not a straight line. It's actually got a slight curve in it. Well, that's the Great Circle distance. And that one is showing it's only 2,700 miles. And we always say, oh, it's 3,000 miles. Well, that's because that's the shortest route from point to point on the surface of the Earth as a globe. So if this was a blow-up globe and I put a bit of string on Lanzarote and Rubicon Marina over here, and I stretch that string across the top of the blow-up globe and put it over here, which is a straight line. It's the closest you can get to connect the 2 points with your bit of cotton or something, a bit of string. That's the way it would pan out in the latitude and longitude. All right, so that's the shortest distance. Anyway, I digress a little bit there, so we'll get rid of that again. Just hit that and come back to the tracker. We'll blow it up a bit. Blow it up a bit here so we can see what's going on. Anyway, you can clearly see now that the fleet the guys going to the west have got another decision to make. These guys are clear. They're now on their way, right? They're all basically clear of the Canaries, but these guys are coming down in the breeze. They've got a slightly different angle, but breeze direction, but they can't keep going. They're going to hit the island, Tenerife. Beautiful place, but they're going to have to tack down. Which will be easy to do. They're not going to, I shouldn't say tack, they're just going to bear away. They'll be on with their asymmetrics there. They're on starboard tack. They can't hold that. They're going to have to jibe and come round and flop round, which could add a bit of distance. But I think they're still in a favourable position because you need to get out to the west. And by the time they get down here and start converging, I think, depending on the weather, let's just see. Now I'll just slowly click it forward every 3 hours or so, and it's going to pick up. So you can see that by tonight, I'll put it back here. You've got these yellow patches coming, right? That's a wind speed increase. And when it goes into the yellow, your average wind speed is going to be probably 25, gusting 30 knots, and the sea state's going to increase. And if you want to know what the sizes are, I've just pulled this down to the bottom. This is the color scale for the wind speeds, okay? And over here, where it's a light blue, you find a light blue that looks similar. Down here, it's 5 to 10 knots. So on the within Africa, it's not much breeze at all. Over this spot here, which is getting towards light and dark blue, right in the middle, okay, that's over here where it's 0 knots or 4 knots or 5 knots. There's very little wind in these blue patches. The greeny color is in here, 15 to 20 knots, okay? And where it starts to go yellow, it's up around 25 knots. And that's your wind speed, and the direction's here. But remembering that the wind speed isn't the gusts. Gusts can actually increase up to 30% higher than the wind speed forecast. So when you've got yellowy color there, 28 knots, say 28, your gust can go up to 35 knots really easy. This is a bit of the squeeze effect because you see it disappears as soon as we extend on a bit. I've got to go to the top of the map now, come back up the top to adjust the forecast time here. And when you see it start to drop through like that, it's a bit of a squeeze effect because it's settling down overnight, and so it goes. Anyway, they're going to have breeze, but this will be interesting because this part of the fleet here, by 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, they'll be down here and it's getting softer, right? Depends how quickly that, or whether they extend over into the lee of this island, but they might soften off if they turn too quick. These guys over here that took the easterly course, if they're clever, they'll stay in that stronger breeze, and then we'll see what happens over the next 24 hours. We'll pull that up. There's a bit of heavy breeze coming behind them. So that's on the 13th. That's tomorrow. It's tomorrow afternoon. There's still a nice breeze. But then you saw it's a bit softer for these guys here, I think. Just going through, if I just come back a bit. Yeah. So by then, the guys to the west are going to be coming over here. The guys on the east of this around here, they've absolutely got more breeze. So that's kind of interesting as well. There might be some advantage there. Just moving along, you come through to the 14th. I'll bring this back again so we can see the bigger picture. But they're holding the breeze all the way through. So that's in 2 days' time. And then coming up 3 days' time, they're still holding that breeze. But again, interestingly, if we see origami come out here, they're going to get it soft. So they don't want to do too much. And if I bring it through to exactly 12, I'll tell you roughly where they might be. That's near enough it there. So it's the 12, 13, 14, 15, 3 days. So it's about 300 and something miles they're going to be from their current position, which is there. So yeah, they're going to, if they keep pushing out there, it's going to get pretty interesting. And having said that they're going to have solid trade winds for the next 12 days, it might look a bit strange, but here's the reality. If we keep working this through, you'll see it start to pick up. Here it comes now. So that's the lightest patch, and then it's just filling in, and you can see it fills in really well. So there might be a bit of light stuff coming for them later on, but it's beautiful sailing conditions. This is 15 knots. They'll be spinnakers. They'll be wing and wing with everything going for it. And now we'll just look at the sea state. I'll pull it back to today's weather. Okay. I'm going to go to the waves. All right. So there's the waves. And again, it's a color gradient. Just a quick update on that. I pull it back. We're looking at the wave gradient. If I come down to the bottom here, and then I pull this down to show you where the boats are. It's 1 to 1.5 meters is this lighter blue color over here. And then when you get into the darker blues, it's getting up to 2 meters. So this is around 2 meters of sea, which they'll probably get late tomorrow. And then after that, when we push it through, anything going into red is up to 6 meters. So again, coming back to the top of the screen so I can progress the wave forecast. So if I come back up here, I've actually come forward. So it's blue today. You can see where the boats are. I'll get them up here a bit. This is in front of them. I'll blow that up so you can see them a bit better. So they're at the top there. They've got blue, so that's only less than a couple of meters right into tonight. And then it's slowly starting to get more and more, and they're getting into the red, so it's around 3 meters. So they're going to start to see this swell come through, which is being driven by the big pressure system to the northwest. There's a big thing that is actually the reason that there's going to be these solid trade winds for many days. So that's the waves. If we go through the cloud cover, let's see what they got. Okay, blue sky to start with. The clouds represented in the white here, and they've got reasonably good weather there, a bit of sunshine. And if we just push that through, let's see what they've got. Yeah, it's typical trade wind stuff. So they're going to have pretty good blue sky sailing, which is very pleasant indeed. And a big bonus, huge bonus, massive moon. So they're coming up to full moon in the next couple of days. It's always good to settle in the first few days with moon at the start of the voyage, and they'll have moon at the close of the voyage, which is a good way to do it. Okay, so I think we're getting a pretty good picture of what's going on. I think that's probably going to be enough. One of the challenges that we're going to have going forward on this, I'll see if I can bring me back on the screen now. Oh, we did show the leaderboard before we get there. First of all, if you want to see what the colours of the boats are, you just hit the teams button on the side. It comes out. You don't necessarily see the name of every boat here, even when you blow it up. If I blow this up, you'll see that, people sometimes ask, oh, why doesn't Argo have his name there? Well, you can't, because there's no room. If you put the name label out, it'll knock out Biggest Monkey and you won't even see the boat. So the generation of the names is automatic by the software program, and it's only available when there's space to show it. So if there's nothing clear on the side, the name will pop out. But if you want to know what that boat is, just put your cursor on it, it'll pop up, or you can see the colours there in the teams. The next one is the actual leaderboard, and this is where you get your statistics. Now, it's way too early to even consider any of this information as being relevant other than statistics. So forget about the leaderboard. There is a glitch with Argo, but oh no, we're back to normal now. It's saying distance sailed for Argo is 105. So this looks correct. So technically speaking, Argo is the closest boat towards Antigua, the National Sailing Academy. This was all done at 2 o'clock. Oh, that's why. Oh, they're still on. That doesn't make sense. So, boy, it might be. Oh, no, sorry. Their last position received was the 12 o'clock. So that's right. They're on four hourly positions now. So he did 105 miles in a day. There's a few of them did that. And it's got the velocity made good. Hang on a sec. What's going on here? Okay, 12.7 knots. That doesn't make sense. That might be a glitch. Yeah, there's absolutely something going wrong there. So it's all settling down. It's more like VMG being 4 knots like it is down here. They're not making 12 knots, that's for sure. No, there's a glitch there. But anyway, you can see the relevance. It tells you up here, finish time in dark blue. So that's the okay, I've got to explain this now. So that's the estimated finishing time based on their current speed and the shortest distance possible, but there's a glitch in that. So that's not quite right. I wouldn't trust any of that, but there's a worth of data here that's usually correct. Correct elapsed time, they're going to get across in 9 days. If they maintain that average speed of 13 knots nearly, they get across in 9.5 days. So that's not right. Let's go to one that does show it down here, 102, VMG, 12.6 knots. Okay, first one in that looks reasonable is Biggest Monkey. 2,800 miles to go. Velocity made good or vector made good. That's the real-time speed towards the finish. 4.3 knots, 95 nautical mile a day. And that on that basis, it would be a 28-day, 7-hour passage. And on that basis, it'd be the 8th of February that they arrive, which is kind of cool because we get there on the 4th of February. So anyway, this will settle down with the data there, and it'll give you all that information as to who's leading the fleet technically. It doesn't really kick in for about a week. After about a week, they'll be out in the ocean, full on proper, clear of everything and heading, and giving an indication of what it's like and where they're going to be heading towards Antigua. So that's that one. I think we've covered off on most of that. Okay, all right, so I'm going to come back and pop back in the screen now if I get this right. If I get this right, you should see me. There I am. Okay, so one of the challenges we've got is that we are not getting regular feedback from the entrants because they don't have to contact us anymore. They're actually contacting their managers. And so we will share relevant Facebook posts and social media that we get, so you'll be updated on that. and any of the entrants can contact us at any time, and that gives us the chance to give feedback on what's happening there. But yeah, there's a real, it's a bit different for this one, and we're trialing out the system for the actual mini globe race, and that's the way it's going to be all the way around. There will be, during the Transat, I'll do updates whenever I see things that are happening that are of real interest, and there'll be a regular weekly one that'll be a scheduled weekly tracker update, and it'll be sometime on Friday, I think. And that's the way it'll work during the whole of the MGR. And they're not having guaranteed to do that one tracker update a week where we go through everything and tell you the latest news and so on. There will be plenty of other occasions when I do a tracker update. If something interesting or exciting or not so exciting happens that we need to tell our followers, it'll be via a tracker update here. And then if there's lots going on, which is a lot of fun, we'll do a tracker update as well. But it's random, it's scheduled. It's simultaneous on Facebook as well as YouTube, so you can follow it there. That's about the best way I can do it. The other thing that happens is I'm actually looking at your comments here on the side of my screen, so I can actually see what you're saying as I'm giving you this update. And what I'll do is at the end, I'll come up and I'll check your comments if you've got any questions and so on, and usually I'll answer them here. If we're getting a huge amount of questions, you'll see I often do a regular Q&A session, and you'll see a little cube come up with question marks on it, and that means that there's a Q&A coming up, and you can put all your questions. This is on Facebook. You can put all your questions in the comments, and what happens is I follow that post, and when there's enough questions to post a live here, I will actually then have a session and answer your questions one at a time. I usually wait until there's about 12 to 20 questions or something like that, and I'll give you all the answers. I'll come up live and do that. So, and that's often once a week if there's a lot happening. We have a Q&A session. I usually post it about Thursday, and by Friday I've got enough questions, and I'll usually do that live sometime over the weekend. So that happens as well. So right now, hang on, I've got a little glitch here. Get rid of that. I can see there's not many comments because you didn't know it's coming, but I'm going, oh, there is. Oh, jeepers. Okay, I've gone right to the top. All right, so I'm seeing that, it's working. Seems to be working. G'day, Steve. Looking good. Yvonne, g'day. All fill in your names. It's working on the 580s. G'day, Sebastian. Kylie. Hey, Don. Hi, Kylie. Ray Hoolan. Hi, all working on Globe 580. Cool. Postman, promise. That's a very promising forecast. Sure is. It's quite crazy. G'day, Lewis. Is there any website we can freely track them on? Absolutely. On the Globe 580. In fact, all of them. The Globe, sorry, not Globe 580. The Globe 580 Transat website. You just go to the live. There's two ways to get to the live. And in fact, I can probably, no, I won't do it now. I'll give you a walkthrough later on the next tracker update. But if you open the Globe 580 Transat website or the Mini Globe Race website, they're both identical in that sense that when you open the home page, if you just go down one screen, just scroll down, and you'll find all these little boxes. And one box will say onboard video tours, technical gallery, photographs, and SoundCloud satellite phone calls, and it'll tell you live tracker. Okay, so you say, oh, you want the tracker? You just hit that big box there. Just go boom, and it'll take you to the tracker. When you get to the tracker, it'll say, do you want to do the Transat qualifier, or do you want to follow the Transat itself, or do you want to follow the Mini Globe Race? And so right now you want to follow the Transat. You just hit that, and you come up with exactly the same tracker that I just showed you then that I was working on. I'm actually showing you the screen of the live tracker on the website, and that's got all the features, unlike your phone. The phone gives you the raw data, which is good because you can quickly check what's going on. And if you can read predict wind weather, which is a bit trickier, you do get a bit of a wind graphic, but it's not like Windy. Windy is fantastic. And if you want to look at the real weather on just the weather without the interface of the positions of the boats, just go to Google and search Windy. Just go Windy, boom, boom, and you'll get on the Windy website, which I can show you. I didn't go through that. I'll do that in a minute. When I finish the comments, I'll pull up the Windy weather site and just give you a quick rundown, and you'll see the difference. But it's very similar to what's on the tracker on the website. So I hope that answers that one There, yes, John tracking the website. Rathlin Postman, perhaps the Vondi and Mochas will pass the 580 fleet close by. Yeah, no, we're too far over at the moment, but they're heading west. I don't know, they might zip around, but certainly there was another race that started today, which is the Rourke Transatlantic. Started today. We went down to the start line, had a look. Etienne, who won the first Transat, a good mate of ours. He's going to do the Gold Globe race. He was here yesterday. He started on that. He's a skipper on a 56-foot trimaran. It's just going to have a quick trip. So they're out there now having some fun. They will sail through the fleet for sure. Yeah, maybe our fleet will get across. I'm not sure. That'd be fun. Talisker rowers, yes, they'll get close to the Talisker. They're not Talisker rowers anymore. It's called the toughest row or something. I think there's 38 of them out there rowing across to Antigua. So they may, they're a little bit down, but with this weather, they may see a rower. Who knows? So there's a lot going on. So that's kind of cool. G'day, Lewis. Thank you. Downloaded the tracking app. Good. Okay. That's pretty simple. Yeah, you just hit that, download it, and then go to YB Races, and you've got the Gold Globe. We also got the Ocean Globe there, and you just go for MGR. MGR, it brings you to the Transat. Wow, 73 watching now on YouTube. Holy dooly. Jeepers. Jane. We're flying. 90 now. Okay, all right. Well, that's cool for an unannounced tracker. That's kind of nice. There'll be a lot more watching once they see it later on as a normal post. So we are more people here. So wow, that's cool. And down the class, wow, 90 now. Oh, that's cool. Hey, Sebastian, Mark Gravia. I'm curious how they will converge in a few days. Well, it'll be fun to watch. It's going to take them a while, but they're all heading to the same place, and I think they all know that there's a real possibility of cutting the corner. So bordering on, it's so radical, it's bordering on cheating compared to everyone that went before. Though all our times are going to get blown out of the window, I think, touch wood. So I'll come back to Windy in a minute and show you. Hi, Ian. Ian. Hi, from Ireland. Boom. G'day, Ray. Will ocean currents play a key advantage going west? I'll show you the currents. I'll show you the currents on the tracker in a minute. And yes, there is currents going across. That's why everyone goes. In fact, people have gone across in giant barrels, and just about no one's done it in a bathtub, I think. But yeah, it's not well, I shouldn't say it's not difficult, but it's always difficult in the ocean. But this is a favourable winds, and in fact, the reason they're called the trade winds is because hundreds of years ago, when using sailing ships and square riggers and all that, that's where the ocean trade went. They have following winds as often as possible, and I've got to say, this is although when I did it in 21, you had this vision of what it would be like going across the Atlantic. In a little plywood boat and beautiful trade winds, blue sky, just sitting out on deck. Oh, it's fantastic. It wasn't quite like that. We had a truckload. And when if you look at Peter from Origami, who built Origami and raced in the first Transat, if you watch his video, you'll see what it's about. It was quite boisterous. And, we had, 30, 35 knots or 30 knot trade winds gusting 35 and 3-4 meter seas. And it was still fun. We made good times, but it's not quite sometimes champagne sailing. And you can get anything because the last one, the Urchin got hammered, huge winds, and big seas and all sorts of things, but they're good little boats. Thanks for that, Rachel. Is there a way to see the individual competitors' own pages of how they feel their race is going? Yes, there is. And in fact, Rob's still here. Rob and I, Jane, we had a big conference on that whole issue this morning because it is different for our races. We always usually manage everything from all the boats, and it's centrally focused here on the tracker updates, and we do it every day then and all that sort of stuff. But this one's each of the entrants are doing their own thing. So what you'll find, and in fact, I think it's already up. Hey, Rob?
It's not live yet.
No, it's not live yet. Okay. We could probably make it live, and just... Okay, Rob's going to turn it on now. So, very soon, in the next number of minutes, Rob will turn it on. And what you'll find is there is a page there on the... it's on the MGR site? On both sites. there'll be a page there that directs you to the social media of each of the entrants, and it'll actually be on our website. Now, the only way we can do that is when the entrant lets us join with them so that their social media comes up onto our website. But we'll be asking them to do that, and they have to have a special type of Facebook page. They have to have like not the private one or personal one. And most of them, I think there's 50-50. Half of them have got those sites and half of them haven't. So that'll all transition. And we're going to ask their managers because some are still running on their personal, private, normal Facebook page. We're going to suggest that those ones that have got that, they should start a new Facebook page which focuses just on their Transat experience and then their mini globe race around the world. And so that means they'll have 2 Facebook pages, and then that will be also on our website, which means you can easily link to them. For now, any of the entrants, you can just do a search in your own Facebook for their names. You've got all the entrant names there, and you'll usually find their Facebook page. The other thing is that we obviously share when we see their Facebook pages. They're giving posts that we think are of interest to you. We'll share that onto our 580 sites, the Transat site, and later on to the Mini Globe Race site. So when you see that, you can hit on it and then like their page and share their page, get on it, and you'll be able to get all the updates as they happen. So we're still settling in with some of this, but it'll work around in the meantime. Now, some of you this might be a boring alert, but I'll just explain a few others, seeing 2 other ways that we're covering the event. Starting next Monday, after they've been at sea a little over a week, half of the fleet, that's 6 of the sailors, will actually ring Graham Cox, who's our scribe. He's going to do all the written reports on the race, and have a chat with them every morning, that Monday morning. And then from there, those conversations with Graham will be recorded, and Graham will send us the sound file, and we will put that up on the SoundCloud section of the website. So you can then hit the button and you can listen to the conversations and find out what's really happening on board. It's a really good way to get a feel for what their week was like. And then a week later, the second half of the fleet. So there'll be 6 more ringing on the second week. So that means you'll get a phone conversation from each of the entrants every 2 weeks. The entrants themselves can ring up at any other time, and it's recorded and put on SoundCloud as well. So they're all filed in an index on the website, and we'll often usually share them across. Jane will put a video clip or something like that with the sound, just a bit of file footage in the back, share that to YouTube, and then we share that onto Facebook as well. So, like Dan calls up, has a 5-minute, 6-7-minute conversation with Graham. Jane will then get a file footage on Dan sailing the boat, some onboard footage or something, run that in the background, and you can listen to their conversations. So that's a good one to look for. Graham will then write, having spoken to the entrants and looked at their posts during the week, a written report, a summary review of the past week, and that'll come up on Facebook, and it's also indexed on the website, so you can look at all the progress over the weeks and weeks as it transitions into the mini globe race. Then I'll be up and about at different times. Okay, I have that weekly guaranteed tracker update, and then I drop in at other times when there's something happening. And we then so that'll probably be Friday. On Thursdays, we will be issuing a newsletter every 2 weeks. So usually on our events, we issue a newsletter press release every week, but we figured around the world for 15 months, it's going to get a bit hectic, and we don't want to bore people. So we fully intend to do the regular scheduled press release newsletter update to subscribers every 2 weeks. Having said that, if something happens that's newsworthy, dramatic or otherwise, we'll instantly issue press releases and newsletters and stuff. So if you haven't subscribed, then please subscribe to the newsletter on the websites, and you'll get all of the stuff into your inbox. The other thing is that I can tell you now, a couple of interesting snippets. This might be getting very boring for some, but one of the amazing things, some of our clips on Facebook are going ballistic. I think I don't know what the latest was, but yesterday our all-time record was a dock walk has had 180,000 views. Might be more now. That was a couple of days ago. Jane's just checking. I can see, but it was 180,000 views. Some others have had 70,000 views. Some others had 48,000 views, and others 20,000, things like that. So and we get quite a lot of emotions on some of them, likes and when I go into the back end and look at it, we're running at less than 10% of the people who are commenting and putting a like or they love it or they laugh at it or whatever it is. Less than 10% have actually liked our Facebook page, right? And it's I can't tell the same for YouTube, but please, if you're following the Transat or if you're going to follow the MGR, do us a big favor. Just like it, right? Or follow it, or both. Like the page, follow the page. You got no idea. I forget. We're very rapidly building the following. We can that have declared that they're following. But I just know, I can see we run at less than 10% at the moment. So it helps us to show people that we really do create waves and that people are actually enjoying what we're doing. And I got to tell you, we don't do it for the money. we do it because we're having a ball. And on that fact, we should say that everyone involved here on the other end, Ada, Rob, Jane, me, our volunteers, and even other past entrants. We had a ball with Pete and Etienne here. We're just sort of sitting back thinking, wow, this is cool. This is super cool. So we love what's going on. Okay, I'm getting a bit boring here, so I'll just finish off these comments. Is there a way to see? Okay, from Multi-Almania Europe, I asked in PM, but what weather forecast may they use or what do they receive? Well, bottom line is, unlike the Gold Globe and the Ocean Globe, which has got real restrictions, everyone in the Mini can do whatever they want, whatever they can, communication systems they can carry and use, they can freely use it. And they've got satellite phones, that's mandatory. They've got to have a couple. They've got Iridium Go Exec, which gives them WhatsApp. They've got Jasmine has got a Starlink system, a mini Starlink. Ayrton, who's not in the fleet yet, he's in Antigua. He's got a mini Starlink, and I think there might be another one coming up. So that means they can watch YouTube movies while they're sailing along their 580, when it gets a bit boring. They can get on YouTube, they can do everything. They'll have full streaming internet thanks to Starlink. And there is no restrictions on weather. They could get on Windy and have a look at it, or they could use Predict Wind or whatever. But the only restriction they've got is there is absolutely the issue of routing is completely banned. Even on board the boat, we don't allow them to have a routing program on the boat. We want to at least make them make their own weather decisions on where they're going and what they're doing. So we don't want their shore team telling them, steer that way to get this and blah, blah, blah. They got to at least do that on board. It was a very simple choice when we came up with the idea of the mini globe race to allow free open communications, because it's a long way around the world on your little boat. And that's one consideration. The other one is we knew we wouldn't get a title sponsor. I mean, we've had trouble trying to get that with the GGR and the OGR, and there is a huge amount of time involved here, and Jane and I can only do so much. So we knew we wouldn't have the manpower or the resources to do everything we usually do with the OGR and the GGR. So we've left it all to them. They work with their managers. Their manager is their safety contact. Each one has a manager, and they're doing all that. So we assist with these things. There's a lot in the background, and we train the managers and things like that. But we're not totally responsible there, because we physically can't do it. With the GGR, we live 24 hours a day with all this stuff, and so does half our team, and we have a full crisis management team, and it all costs a lot of money, and we never get the money, and we just keep paying. But this time, it's we've got things we have to do, and we've got to keep working on the GGR and the OGR. So that's why it's a bit different, but they can get any weather, do anything they want with social media, and we'll try and keep you updated here with what's going on as well. Sailing on the Baltic Sea. Hi, how convenient 580 against the 3-meter wave for skipper in this condition? It's not a problem. These boats, this is the thing that people are going to be surprised about, is that they're full ocean-going sailing yachts. They can cope with anything. It might be uncomfortable and it might be horrible to hang on, but that's no different than a mocha. You see what happens in a mocha when they're flying at 30 knots. The skipper has to hang on for the ride. Well, when you're in a little boat in a big ocean in a confused sea, maybe wind against tide, it can get very uncomfortable. The worst I've ever had was in our bounty boat when I was sailing across the Pacific with 3 other guys with virtually no food, no water. It's an open boat. And I remember distinctly one period, it went for about 3 days, and we were in a very uncomfortable sea, and the boat was just going to, and in the end, you couldn't get away from it. It was just driving us crazy, and it was very frustrating. In Tracker, when I went across the Atlantic, we had a few occasions when it was uncomfortable, but the boat itself is so comfortable that you put up with it. It's not so bad. So, they're okay. Safety-wise, if you put a cork, if you get a jar, screw the lid on, put it in a big tub of water and slosh it around, it's perfectly safe. You just got to hang on. So little boats aren't unsafe just because they're little, right? That's something that people might be challenged with trying to understand and that sort of issue. But the boats are safe. You don't want to be you won't go directly to windward in 4-meter seas in anything over 30 knots, but you can just crack off the course a bit and you're okay. If it's behind you, you're going to make good time and you might be under bare poles or a little head sail, but it's still okay. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up now. Let's see. Given they seem to have taken 3 different routes leaving port, was there any advantage, disadvantage of each of the initial routes? Just check out, you might not have seen what I was talking about at the beginning, Rachel, so have a look at that, and it explains it. There's different little reasons, that's all, but there's no winners and losers. No, there's no right and wrong. It's just one of those things. You just got to decide. So, hi, Peter the pilot. No, thanks for that. Sebastian and Chris, Argo, yep. Okay, thank you. It would be great to keep up with them. Any of the entries keeping written diaries? Oh, more than that. There's a couple of them have already told us they're writing books. We're writing an overall book, or Graham is. Graham's writing the book of the mini globe race. So there are quite a few will be keeping diaries of various forms. So thanks, user. That's a good name. Okay. Does current make any difference on VMG? No, current is in the mix of VMG. Okay, so VMG is either velocity made good or vector made good. They can be 2 different things. And if you're measuring the actual speed and direction towards your ultimate destination as VMG, that's a factor of the course that you're choosing and also the current. So yes, current can have a big effect. So if you've got a head current, it's going to slow you down. If you've got a tail current, it's going to speed you up. So yes, it can. And I'll show you the currents in a minute. So okay, we're onto it. So that's enough of the questions. Thanks for all that. I'm going to just go quickly to, in fact, I'll stick to the tracker, I think, because this one we should go straight back to the tracker on this, hopefully. Yes, we're on the tracker. Rightio. Now, if I get on the tracker here, I can show you on the features of the actual website tracker. When you hit this little button here, you've got all these things. You can check the wind, the temperature, the pressure, the clouds, the currents, the waves, and any rain. Okay, you can get a graphic on all of that. I think the currents are relatively weak around here, but let's check the currents. There could be something. Oh no, there's a cool current there. Yep, I'll decrease the size, and you can see here. This is the current stream, and you can see this is pretty much it's very easy to see. You've got a stream coming down like a river, and you've got some coming down the coast. I tried to hit them in 2021. I came across here to get these, and I got the current but lost the breeze. And the current changes sometimes with the tide as well. No, there it is. So that's today's currents, right? And you'll see that these guys over here, if I put that up there, if they hook across here, they're going to get a current assistance pushing them down all the way. All right. Now, what's the speed of that current? Every time you want to know the relative meaning, if you come to the bottom of the course, the bottom of the chart rather than tracker, you'll see here these dirty brown, goldy colors. They're in here. They're less than a knot. Okay. So, but even if it's half a knot, that's 12 miles a day. So it can be significant. It's better to have it going with you than going against you. Hang on, I meant to pull that away here, but Okay, so it's gone. I'll just show you over the other side, or I'll show you something that's got a decent sized current. So that's how you read the current. In fact, that's enough. I'll just show you the temperature. The temperature's there now. Okay, it's all yellow. And if we go down to the bottom of the map, they're going to get warmer temperatures. But yellow is in 22, 23 degrees, something like that. So temperatures are pretty clear. And it's hotter over Africa. And then if we go back to, so we showed you clouds, waves, rain. There shouldn't be much rain unless there's thunderstorm. No, there's nothing happening there, although that might be the thing. So we've got temperature, pressure. There's so little pressure gradient, you won't even be able to see it. So anyway, that's enough of that. So, okay, I'm going to come back and sign off. So that was a big impromptu one. I didn't know I was going to get into that. That's an hour. That's crazy. So we will keep an eye on things, and when something's happening, we'll let you know. Next time we come back, we'll actually have, because we grabbed this from our previous ones, we will have the proper Alma 580 logo up here. We'll have our proper logos down there, and we'll have a few extras set up as well. So we'll have a leading video. You'll see an intro come up. It's a header. So that header will go for a minute or so. It'll let people catch up with the live when they see the notice they get if you subscribe to or like and follow our page, which I know you will. And then when we finish, there's usually a footer at the end that just signs off with everything. But we're just going to go dead on this one. And I just got to work out how to turn it off. Thanks a lot. We'll see you later. Enjoy the Globe 580 Transat. See you later.